What's up, you filthy animals? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Every once in a while, I remember to open the stream with that, and it makes me very happy. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday. Tonight, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Newbie Drone. That's not what you were just watching, by the way. You were just watching Newbie Drone's new release from last week. 2 brand new rigs, 1 week after the next. What lucky people we are. Yeah, that was the BLV5 2S that you were just watching. Chonky boy, but plenty of power to make up for the chonky chonk. Tonight we're going complete opposite end of the spectrum with the brand new Hummingbird v3.1 Race. 16.5 grams for $90. How? This is outrageous. I cannot believe how lightweight this is. I can't believe it's only $90, and I'm going to show you the lengths that they went to keep this thing lightweight, and it's wild. My hat is off to Newbie Drone for how hard they've gone on lightweight with this. It's super impressive. I have not flown it yet. I have not done anything to it yet. I'm going to give you guys the full, like, take it out of the box, set it up, get it going experience over the next 2 or so hours. So welcome, friends. CiottiFPV was first. No, he wasn't. Cheatonian was first in the chat. Curtis Hayes was second. CiottiFPV was third. Hockey Round, Spaceman Spiff, Mick Mucus, Cloudhopper, Bob Bruce, Witch Cat, Doubles FPV, Scotty Scott, Notice, Islander FPV, Cloudhopper again, Frosty, Uriel 661, Douglas 6, Dave S, Rotax. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. If you want to talk to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV like Cloudhopper did. He said, doing well. Cheatonian also tagged me and said, did you know it takes 3.6 times more force to bend a 1.5mm shaft than a 1mm shaft? Think about the implications for shafts everywhere. Gross. Yeah, 1.5 millimeters to 1.5. I'm sorry, 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters on these tiny Whoop motors basically means that you're never going to bend the shaft again. The weak point will pretty much forever shift from the motor to somewhere else on the frame. That's why I'm so excited about the Weebleed 0702 bells. You can just order the bells from Weebleed with a 1.5 millimeter shaft. Basically what that means is that the ultimate, you know, previous to that with the 1mm shafts, the first thing to go on all of these 65mm tiny Whoops and the 75s where you were using a motor with a 1mm shaft, the motor would always be the first thing to let go. The shaft would bend. And that was that. And so like we made all kinds of we built these things differently because of the fact that the motor shaft was the weak point. Now that we've got the 1.5 millimeter motor shafts, we'll see what the next the next most fragile thing is on them. I assume it's going to be the frames, but yeah, time will tell. Douglas 6 says, "Hey Ciotti, are you watching Blacklist?" I am, slowly but surely. I don't watch Blacklist when I'm like trying to fall asleep. I watch it when I'm actually paying attention because I don't want to miss it. I have like I try to like rewatch shows when I'm trying to fall asleep. Top Gear, lately Seinfeld, Frasier was a good one. But yeah, Blacklist, I actually want to pay attention, so I watch it when I'm sort of awake, and I don't watch much TV when I'm awake. Usually TV is like, all right, time to wind down and try to sort of fall asleep. But yeah, Blacklist is good. I wish they'd spent a little bit more money on it, basically. It's hard with TV shows. I wish they'd had like better tactical advisors on set, and like the visual effects can be a little hokey sometimes, but the story is really cool, and the actors are good. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. I am end of the first season, I think. Might be just breaking into the second season. Cheetonian says, "Weebleed has 31mm, 1.5mm shaft gem fan by Blades 2. They do indeed, the 1210s. He took a bunch of my money today. Nice. Cheetonian, were you the affiliate order that I got an email about today? It just says that you got an affiliate order. If not, what the hell, man? No, I'm just kidding. It's okay. When you guys forget, it's just like when I forget, which is all the time. If you guys want to support me, because this live stream is completely crowdfunded, CiottiFPV.com is the way to do that. And here's my Weebleed FPV affiliate link. Look at that. If you have a bookmark to Weebleed FPV, change your bookmark to my affiliate link, if you don't mind. Patreon helps me out the most. If you have $3 whole a month, you can jump on there and get a ton of benefits. It's well worth 10 cents a day. Etsy has some fun stuff you can buy. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me if you want to get good fast. Teespring has some fun shirts like this one. PayPal if you want to support me directly, but you don't want YouTube to take 30% of your super chat. And then all these affiliate links, yo. Change your bookmarks. Put someone's affiliate links in instead of your bookmarks. Or if you don't use bookmarks and you just like type AMA for Amazon, you can remove your current suggestions and then hit someone's affiliate link a couple times, and your browser will think that when you type AMA, you actually want to go to CiottiFPV's affiliate link, bro. Amazon, Get FPV, Pyro Drone, Race Day Quads, Newbie Drone, Weebleed, Beta FPV, FPV Cycle, Oh My God, Brain 3D, HD0, Flywoo, Emacs, Banggood, Camera Butter, and AliExpress. That's how you support me, friends. What's he going crazy about?
So the neighbors have flat tire down the road, and they need a different type of like lug nut equipment, and I don't know where to find it.
I'm gonna play this for a minute, friends. I'll be right back.
I'm so sorry.
All I have three things. If it's not one of these three.
Okay. Let me ask her if this is it. This is what he has. Sorry, Sherry. I had no idea.
All right, you fuckers. Oh, look at that! It didn't stop playing already. Again, you are not watching the. The Hummingbird. That was the BLV5 that you were just watching. Same thing that I was playing at the beginning of the live stream. Fatboy 2S though, tons of power. this has opened my eyes to the magic of 2S on like analog. Like I don't know why well, I do. I went to 2S with the Walksnail 75 because there was just no way that I was getting enough power on 1S, power and runtime on 1S. Lately, I've been struggling a little bit to get like the power that I really want out of analog 75s, and I'm so lucky that NewbieDrone sent this over for me to show you guys and review it, because it completely opened my eyes that, like, why not go 2S on analog? When I do a 2S analog build, it's going to be a lot lighter than this, but, like, yeah, it just, for whatever reason, it just didn't occur to me I was being very stubborn about wanting to stay on 1S with analog rigs. Why? Like, I mean, one of the reasons why is potentially that it's hard to find 2S compatible AIOs with VTXs and ELRS on board. But the BLV5 certainly looks like one of them, and then I'm going to be trying the X12, and then we'll keep looking. If the X12 doesn't work out, we'll keep looking. So yeah, there you go. That's how you support me, my friends. Patreon's your best bet, and it's only 10 cents a day. Do it. I'm going to be doing more Patreon-specific live streams. Fair warning. And so if you want to get all the juicy stuff, basically what I'm going to start to do, I did this a long time ago, and it was awesome. And then I just kind of forgot to keep doing it because it does take a little bit of extra work, but it's not much extra work. When we go overtime, or one of the bits of feedback that I get once a week, once every other week, is that the live streams are too long, which makes me laugh, because it's like, fast forward or just stop watching whenever you want to watch. Like I get it. I'm a completionist as well, right? It's completionists that are like, I'm frustrated because I want to watch the full 2 hours, but I don't have that amount of time. And it's like, well, then just watch what you can watch, and don't watch what you, right? But I get it. I totally get it. So I'm going to try to shorten the live streams up a little bit, and then because I know that I'll get more people to click. People are not willing to click if they see that it's over 2 hours. And so I'm going to try to shorten the live streams up to an hour and a half, maybe even eventually a little bit under an hour, so that it's not, digit : 2 digits : 2 digits. It's just, 59 minutes, whatever, 58 seconds. And then we'll swap over to, for like the after party, Patreon specific. So now is a great time to jump onto the Patreon. Like I said, it's only $3 a month. That's 10 cents a day. And Patreon is really the only way that I can do this full time. So, like, legitimately, in order for me to continue to do this 10 plus hours a week, I need everybody to throw me a couple of dollars, and that's, that'll keep the lights on, the food on the table, all that good stuff. So, yeah, now's as good a time as any to jump on the Patreon. It won't cost you much. And I will use as much of that as I can to continue to buy and test stuff and give stuff away, and all the good stuff that makes this what it is. So yeah, look out for that. We're not doing that tonight, because I got to figure out like the logistics of chopping the stream, and then making a new one with a different thumbnail. And then I got to figure the quickest way possible out to shoot another email out with that second link, and post on the Discord for patrons only. But yeah, that's something that's coming. Keep your eyes out for that. Let me get caught up on chat, and then we're going to dive into this guy here. I'll show you what comes in the box, and we'll get it set up. We'll fly it stock. I'll change a couple of things, I'm sure, and then we'll smash it around and see what's up. G-Tonian says, yep. Everyday Bruno says, y'all good? Yeah, the neighbors need to change a tire, and they don't have the right socket. Uriel says 2S was heavy. Believe it or not, the 2S 75mm rigs only gain 2 grams. The 2S and the trade-off is both more power and more efficiency. These little 2S 300 mAh BT 3.0 batteries from tinywhoop.com are only 2 grams heavier than the 450 mAh 1S batteries. 2S is double the voltage, so it's going to be a massive increase in efficiency. And this is 2 300 mAh cells, so this is 600 mAh total. So not only does it have more milliamps in it, but it's going to be more efficient. Also, one of the biggest problems that we have with 1S on the 75mm rigs is motor selection. Basically, motors not being high enough kV. When we go to 2S, we are good to go. We have motors that are actually too high of a kV, which is the problem that we want because we just motor limit them down and we're good to go. So I'm actually like really excited to go to 2S on these 75s because it's going to open up a ton more motor options. And yeah, better runtime. I don't really care about well, I do. We've on the 1S 75mm rigs, runtime has become a problem because there have been some motors that do make enough power. And so yeah, the runtime issue will go away with 2S. But more importantly, we will have access to a ton more motors. And motors with 1.5mm motor shafts. Really, the only motors that make enough power for 1S 75mm are 1mm motor shaft, which is just way too fragile. So on 2S, we've got the sub 250 0803 19,000, I think it is. We've got the T motor 1002. We've got the beta 18 or 19,000 kV. We've got the beta FPV 1102. We've got the RC Power 1002. With those 4 motors, we've got everything that we need, but I'm sure I'm missing a couple more motors that are 1.5mm motor shaft with plenty of kV. So yeah, I'm really excited about diving into 2S for the 75s. Yes, we will gain 2 grams, but that's really about it. We might gain another half a gram by going from BT 2.0 to BT 3.0, but that's really it. The Mobula 7 V3 frame is an awesome choice. Depending on what AIO we run, the Mobula 7 V4 frame with the upper battery bay supports cut out is also a really good option. So should be good. CiottiFPV says, I caught up on the stream yesterday. I already ordered the Goku 2S 5-in-1. It was the only one I could find that seemed to be an option other than the X12. Goku, okay. I didn't know about that one, I don't think. Let's take a quick look. Flywoo Goku F4. Look at that. F405. Oh, this is the HD one. For the record, when an AIO says HD, what that means is it doesn't have a VTX on it. Lately, what it also means is that it doesn't have an OSD chip on it. Since they're assuming you're going to run an HD VTX, you don't need that. You don't need that giant pain in the ass OSD chip. But that's not what Siskel is referring to. I'm thinking that he's referring to this one here. Goku F405, 12 amp. 12 amp is great too. Built-in ELRS. Doesn't look like it has a built-in VTX though. Well, we're on Flywoo's website. Let's take a look. What do they refer to them as? I'm assuming it's going to be 1 to 2S, so let's just search for that and see what comes up. Is this it here? 12 amp ELRS AIO V2. No. This says HD, so it's not going to have a VTX. This is going to be it. So I can tell because it's full size and there's 2 UFLs on it. So, oh, that's right. I did know about this one. $100 is... I mean, there's yeah, $100 is a bit much. If we have to go this route, look at this fancy shit. What? If we have to go this route to get something that's durable, it kind of is what it is, I guess. But this is going to be like the last one that I try. Also, there are no motor plugs on it. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. if this is reliable, if this is durable, and there are no other ones that are reliable and durable, then let's go for it. But yeah, this is going to be the last one that I tried just because I'm a cheap bastard. Cisco says the black one is a 5-in-1. Got it. As soon as I get caught up on chat, we're going to talk about this, the new Hummingbird that came out yesterday. Cisco also says, what about doing live stream clips / shorts out of the longer stream? I know time could be a factor. Great thought. Joshua hit the nail on the head a while ago in terms of shorts and why he doesn't put much effort into them, and why he made a completely separate channel for them, which is essentially that the people that are going to watch shorts are not the people that are going to watch even shorter live streams. Someone that wants to watch 10, 15, 20 seconds at a time is a completely different person than who's willing to watch an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time. This is the person that's kind of like into something on the surface level, and they're just kind of having fun with it, and they're not going all the way down the rabbit hole, and or they just don't have the time. This is the person that really wants to learn and dive in and actually get good and actually understand stuff top to bottom. And these people typically don't sort of blend. So by spending a whole bunch of time on shorts, it's going to get me a whole bunch of people that aren't willing to actually watch the live stream. And I don't know how else to say this, but basically the people that watch shorts are much less likely to support you. Those are people that are just sort of surface level. They just want to get in, get out. And like, there's the perceived value of a 15-second short is completely different than a 2-hour live stream. And so there's just basically sort of not much money over here. And yeah, when you decide to do something full-time for a living, unfortunately, you have to have that in the back of your mind. At least in the back of your mind. It should be in the front of your mind, but that would kill it for me. So for me, it's in the back, sort of in the middle of my mind. But yeah, that's sort of why I've spent little to no time on shorts. Can you get a lot more subscribers by doing shorts and spending tons of time on that? Absolutely. But I don't care about subscribers. I care about doing this forever, and I care about building an audience of people that are like-minded enough to really dive in and learn this stuff and are also willing to support me. So yeah, trying to make any money off of shorts is all but impossible. And yeah, sort of is what it is. I wish there was an infinite amount of time in the day and I could do all of the above, but there isn't. I am like beyond maxed out in terms of time in the day, so I have to be super selective as to what I put my time and effort into. And so yeah, don't hold your breath for shorts for me. It's probably never going to happen, but that's okay. That's a completely different audience. Scotty Scott says, have seen the Flywoo AIO 12 amp 1-2 ELRS with 400mm VTX. We just took a look at that. Cloudhopper says, what KV should I rewind some RS802s to for 2S? I have plenty of X12s to play with, and I'm going to get some 300 mAh 2S batteries and some v3.1 connectors. I don't think you need to, Cloudhopper. We've got like 1 million motors in the lower KVs. The RS802, the Happymodel RS802 motor comes in 20,000 kV, which is kind of perfect. That is like the perfect KV where you can just motor limit it down a little bit and away you go. So yeah, you've got a lot less work to do going to 2S. You don't have to do all that incredibly difficult rewinding. I would just run the RSs as they sit and it'll probably be perfect. Cisco, we got that. Cheetonian says, general knowledge question: how far onto the motor shaft should I be installing my props? Great question. Absolutely as far down as they will go. On a 1mm motor shaft, if you do not push that propeller all the way down on that motor shaft, it will bend it quickly. Even if you push it all the way down, it will still bend it. But if you push the propeller if this is the hub of the propeller, if you don't push it all the way down, this is the top of the bell, it's just gonna crease that motor shaft right there at that base. If you push the hub all the way down like that, there's much better of a chance that when it gets torqued to the side, it's the whole thing is gonna move. The problem is after a couple of hits, the propeller creeps up a little bit, and you'll notice that when your motor shafts bend, you'll be able to push that propeller down a little bit. Like they creep up, and then that's when they bend the motor shaft. In the amount of time that they're flat against the bell, that's when they're nice and strong. But yeah, there's so much force coming through that when you smash into stuff that they creep up a little bit, pretty much no matter what. This is why the 1.5 mil shafts are like God's gift to Tiny Whoop. So, but yeah, you got to push them all the way down. That's a really big deal. Dabadoc says, "What's going on, brother?" Uriel says, "I like Fart Friday." Uriel also says, "We want also some blah blah blah, etc." Well, there's plenty of blah 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 here. Cheetonian says, "Okay, well, I need me some drill bits." Yeah, man, 0.99 millimeter drill bit is super important. I don't have them on the Etsy store yet. They will be going up there soon. If you need one, message me. Do me a favor, pick at least something else on the Etsy store so that I'm not just sending the one thing to you. But yeah, they are available. I have a bunch of the 0.99 millimeter shafts still. I don't drill bits rather. I don't have any more of the 1.5 millimeter drill bits, but at some point I will get more. Matter of fact, hold on. I just did an Amazon order, and I knew that I was forgetting something, and that's what I was forgetting. There should be previously purchased. Yep, there it is. The ones that I got previously were awesome. All right, there we go. Cool. Next Amazon order I do, there will be some more 1.5 mil drill bits that I can then sell to you beautiful bastards. Cool. I'm caught up on chat. Newbie Drone, thank you so much for sending this over. Very, very, very kind of you. This is the brand new Hummingbird v3.1 Race. Here's the box that it comes in. In the box, you get the ridiculous little prop removal tool, which you should just throw right in the garbage because it basically doesn't work at all. They do give you an extra TPU canopy, and then you get an extra set of ASI props, which you will need. ASI props are pretty fragile. ASI props are also a good example of why you need a 0.99 millimeter drill bit. They're just a little bit too tight on the 1 millimeter motor shafts. Let me take a quick look. This is a 0.95 millimeter drill bit. And okay, so they'll still spin on a 0.95 millimeter drill bit. So they're not that tight, but this is a 0.99 millimeter drill bit, which is just perfect. And if I try to run this through an ASI prop, it gets I got it in there a little bit. The ASI props used to be really bad in this respect. This is better than I remember. I wonder if, I don't know, I would assume that they didn't make another mold, but I wonder if somehow they clean this up a little bit. Or I wonder if there's some way that they're... What's up, Hypnose? How are you, brother? Yeah, these are actually better than the old school ASIs. I don't know if maybe they adjusted something or what, but... this is all you need to do. You have your 0.99 millimeter drill bit. You just run it down the prop real quick, spin it one direction, spin it the other direction, take it out, and now the propeller will fit tight enough on the motor where it doesn't fall off, but you won't have to ram it on there and ruin your motor. The motor shaft and the motor bell are laser welded together, which is kind of strong, but if you're taking a propeller and going and really muscling it on there, you are gonna break that laser weld pretty quickly. And then once that motor shaft slips on the bell, it's game over. That motor is ruined. So yeah, super important stuff. Get yourself a 0.99 mil drill bit, and you'll stop ruining motors. You also get in the box an extra set of this. Are those the super short Yeah. Yeah. The super short, I believe they're M1.2. Don't quote me on that, but these are the motor screws. You need these ultra short ones for the new generation of cockroach frames, which are my favorites, the V3, and on this guy you get the lite AF. They both use a very thin motor mount base and nice short screws. That saves weight, and it is no less durable. It's a much better setup than all of the other frames that are using much longer screws. On those rigs, there's a big weight savings to be had by going to Peak or I forget the other, but plastic motor screws. I have had a terrible experience with those plastic motor screws. The heads of them strip out. If you buy a specific screwdriver for them, that helps with that issue. But then the main problem is that when they break, not if they break, when they break, they are buried inside of that stator base, which can be a real pain in the ass to remove. So like if you crash, those plastic motor screws are a little bit of a nightmare. I know a lot of people that got super excited on them, moved over to them, and now have moved back to metal motor screws because it's not worth the 0.3, 0.4 of a gram that you save. The newbie drone setup with nice short metal screws is a much better deal. You also get a very cool little sticker here, and then a quick start guide with showing you like the propeller direction and how to bind it. What's it say how to bind it? Oh, my eyes are getting old. My everything is getting old. Method 1, connect to Betaflight, go into the receiver tab and click the bind receiver button. Method 2, oh, it has a bind button. That's what I want to look at. So apparently it has a bind button on it in the front, on the bottom. Yeah, look at that. Very cool. I like that. And then just like a parts overview, showing you the different parts. Very cool. Super simple. That's all you need, though. Don't got to throw all kinds of wacky stuff in these boxes. We want the quad, not the extra stuff, yo. All right, so newbie drone Hummingbird v3.1. Let's come over here. I want to show you some stuff that's like kind of gnarly. First and foremost, this is the thing that blows my absolute mind. Look at these motor wires. So all of the guys that are doing the rewinds are going this route, where they're using the winding material as the motor wires, which does save weight, and it allows them to not have to solder the winding material to a PCB and then a set of 30 gauge wires from the PCB to the AIO. You just get the wires coming directly out of the motor that you then direct solder to the AIO. The problem with this is that you can never go to a plug. Like, this is a motor that will always be direct soldered. So on one hand, that's annoying. On the other hand, it's like, well, if I want to run these motors, I have to direct solder them. So let me just suck it up and do it. A big part of the whole motor plugs versus soldering thing is like, you know, I don't want to have to do it. But if you have to do it, it's kind of like, all right, well, I guess I will. And then you're like, well, it's not that much of a pain. For me personally, it's a huge pain because I test a lot of stuff and I swap motors all over the place. For you guys that are not testing 10, 15, 20 different motors, it's a lot less of a pain. Yes, when you break one of these motors, it is going to be more annoying to swap it out. But this is wild that they're doing this. And this soldering job that they're doing is tiny. I don't understand why they're soldering these to these tiny little pads on the bottom when they have these great big pads up on top. So when you break one of these motors and you have to solder a replacement on, you're going to just solder it up to these nice big pads on the top. It's wild, and I guess they're doing it because it's cleaner. But yeah, whoever is soldering these motors up, my hat is off to you, sir and or madam. You were doing a hell of a job. So yeah, that is the most extreme weight savings that I think I've ever seen on a bind and fly. That is super impressive. I mean, that's really the main thing. They've got a They've got an A30 lead. They've finally moved away from PH 2.0, which is amazing. They've got an A30 lead, and they soldered it up on the top here. I've seen a bunch of racers do this. I don't necessarily understand it. I would personally do it on the bottom. I will say that when you do it on the bottom, the wire, it is a little bit more messy. Like you gotta run the wires in between the frame here and the USB, which is a little bit more difficult. It's much easier to solder it up on top here and then just have it loop around. I don't know if they put it. Oh, they did. They passed it through. I can't get it out of there. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. They didn't put it through there. I put it through that little back part of the frame. You probably don't want to do that. You want to loop it up around the back like this. And then what's cool is you've got plenty of wire here to plug the battery in. So that's kind of interesting. My main complaint about this is the canopy. This is a TPU printed canopy, and I am terrified that this canopy being bendy like this on crashes is going to allow this camera to smash into the AIO and break chips off of the AIO. Apparently the folks that have been testing this have had a good time with it in terms of durability, but I don't know, I crash pretty often and pretty hard, so we'll see. There are, as always with this style of what I call G-string canopy, there's a couple different screw holes here so that you can add more up tilt. It is currently on the farthest back, which gives you the least amount of up tilt. This is actually a good amount of up tilt though. This is more up tilt than I'm used to. This is specifically called the v3.1 race spec though, so it makes a lot of sense to have this much up tilt. You could certainly just like sit this up like that, like put a little you could make it have less up tilt, maybe put a little bit of heat in here and then stretch it like that, or just like you could probably just clamp something to this overnight. Like I've got I don't think I've ever showed you guys this. I forgot that I even had these. I've got this hysterical little set of quick grips here. Look, isn't that just the most adorable thing you've ever seen? And so like you could probably just take something like these little quick grips and just put it like there, you know, and clamp it down and just let it sit like that overnight, and it would give the TPU a little bit of memory, and then that would give it a little bit less up tilt. I'm sure you could easily make a little bit less up tilt, or you can swap the canopy out. You know, this like we'll see. We'll see how that might be one of my top tips, depending on what happens during crashes here. I might be telling you guys, yeah, this is a great rig, but definitely change the canopy out. I love that they've got a little bit of protection up. Oh, hold on, this looks like ass. I love that they've got a little bit of protection on the top of the camera here. Someday this will focus. Whenever you're ready, Logitech, you steaming pile of... This usually helps for some reason. See? Yeah, I love this little bit of extra material above the camera. That's going to protect the camera itself. I've never seen this style of like little G-string canopy before. The TPU just loops in on itself to hold the camera. And so you've got no screws, and the way that it kind of loops, it's going to prevent the camera from rotating. So I actually really kind of like this this style of canopy. I've had a lot of problems lately with the Meteor 65 Air canopy, which uses a little screw on the bottom here to try to keep the camera from rotating. It's just not working for me. The camera keeps spinning in the mount, and that's a really big problem. This is a much simpler, much more sort of elegant solution to that. This is a BI camera, nice wide-angle camera. A lot of racers like this. The camera is plugged in, which is kind of nice. The BI cameras all use this tiny little JST. I don't know if it's a JST 0.8 maybe, but yeah, all of the BI cameras use that same little connector. ELRS is the little red wire here sticking out, and then the VTX antenna is plugged in right in the middle there. and it's one of these super popular now, ultra lightweight, little 0.2 of a gram antennas. Again, this is a race rig, so this is the antenna that a lot of the racers use. If I start to really fly this thing a lot, if I kind of fall in love with it, I will probably move this over to an ORT micro V antenna, which is my current favorite itty bitty little lightweight antenna. It'll add a little bit of weight, but at 16.5 grams, adding a little bit of weight is no big deal. The motors are Newbie Drones 0702 30,000 kV. A really nice little touch here is that they put the kV on the stator base, which makes so much sense because the stator is what controls the kV, not the motor bell. And then on the motor bell, it just has Hummingbird 0702. That's something that Newbie Drone's been doing for a while that is just like brilliant. It's a tiny little thing, but it really makes a difference, especially for me. When I bend a motor shaft, I take the bell off and I get rid of the bell, but I keep the stator. And for the stator to have the kV on it, that's awesome. So yeah, just a tiny little thing, but a thing nonetheless. The motors are pushed almost all the way down on the motor shafts. We do want to get them the rest of the way down here. So if you get one of these, oh boy. So I just pushed on that pretty hard and it did not budge. And what that means is to stop and drill the propeller out. Let's take a look at the other ones here to see if they all have that tiny little gap. Yeah, they all have that. Well, those two have that tiny little gap. That one has it as well. All right, so they all have the tiny little gap. I don't mind that, actually, because that'll give me a little space to sneak my prop popper in. So let's do that right now. Because otherwise, having the motors sitting up on the shafts like that, we're just going to bend these motor shafts pretty quickly. So yeah, that drops right on there. I would rather... so the only propellers at the moment that I don't have to drill out are the Gemfan 1210 biblades. So if a rig is going to come with not those propellers, I would actually rather have the prop sitting up a little bit to make it easier for me. Well, first of all, I know that somebody at the factory didn't push down ultra hard and potentially wreck the motor, but also it makes it incredibly easy for me to sneak the prop popper under there and pop them off. Is this set up props in or props out? Props in! Now we're talking. The manufacturers are paying attention, I think, again. Not again. I don't know why I said again. But yeah, props in. I dig that. So there we go. All four of those off real quick. We're just going to take them and throw them on the little pin vise here. Just remove the tiniest little bit of material so that we don't hurt the motors taking these on and off the motor shaft. That's it. That's all you got to do. Super simple. And now let's see how it is with that. Sometimes you got to go back and do it again. So you take a little bit of material off, you put the propeller on here, and you push down with a moderate amount of force. And now I'm starting to have to push really hard to get it further down. Stop. Don't push these things down on these motors really hard. Take it back off and remove a little bit more material. Here's how I do it. I go, like you just saw me, I put the propeller all the way on, and then I spin it in one direction, I spin it in the other direction, and then I take it off. And then I try it, like you just saw me do. If it's still a little bit too tight, instead of just doing that again, what I'll do is I'll put the propeller all the way down the drill bit, and then I'll pull it straight back up and off. And then I'll actually do that one more time. To spin the drill bit is not going to do much. We already took the little bit of material off from doing that. Pulling the propeller off and on, I don't know what it does in there, but it takes a little bit more material off. And 9 times out of 10, I do that twice, and then it'll be just about perfect. But what we're trying to do here is remove, and now it's perfect, remove the minimum amount of material so that we can push it down firmly, but not super hard. Also, we don't want to take too much material off because then the damn thing will fly off. So that's good, and now it is bottomed out, and here's what it looks like when it's bottomed out. This is what you want to see. at the base of the propeller. You want it to be all the way down on the motor shaft. See that? See how that looks a little bit different than it did a minute ago? That's what you want. So we're just going to sit here and drill these props out real quick, and I'll get caught up on the chat. Let me try to find where I was at here. Hypno says, what up? Pequeño Frijole says, what is the special screwdriver? I can't find one. What do you mean? What special screwdriver are you talking about? I have MIP drivers over there, and then I have WEHA drivers. Which one are you talking about? So now that I've done one propeller, I can do the rest of these props in the same way. So put the prop all the way on, and then pull it straight off. Debadoc says, weird question, but I either want to upgrade my Meteor 75 Pro, or I'm thinking if I can move it down to a 65mm frame and change motors and everything. I'm new to building. Any thoughts on it? The very first thing that I would need to know is why. I actually love the Meteor 75 Pro. So what is the reason that you want to change? What don't you like about the Meteor 75 Pro? I need to know that so that I can, get you pointed in the right direction. Yeah, doing that, spinning the drill bit both directions, and then prop on, prop off, prop on, prop off makes these propellers absolutely perfect. Just enough resistance, but not too much resistance. Islander FPV says, watched my first Infinity Loops live stream the other day, and I enjoy his reviews. And he's a great pilot, but damn, that live chat readout thing killed it for me. Thank you for not using that noise. Yeah, I never understood that either, but to each his or her own. Cloudhopper says, I refuse to use the magnet wire as motor leads when I rewind. I find the solid wire is more prone to breaking, and I prefer connectors. Interesting. I ain't gonna complain about connectors, that's for sure. But yeah, the race guys are pretty hardcore nowadays, so that it seems to be like almost a requirement at the top levels of racing to use the winding material as the wires to save every fraction of a gram. Where are we at here? I am Gross98 says, can that camera fit in a Mobula 6 canopy? No, because there are no holes in the corner of the camera to screw to the backing plate that goes in the Mobula 6 canopy. So yeah, that won't work. It's the regular old BI camera though, so you can put it in the old school Goober mount, or you can also put it in the other newbie drone mount, the boxy newbie drone mount that everybody uses on toothpicks. You can also put the BIs in the Batwing mount that Timmons created. So yeah, the BI camera is a pretty standard shape. There's also a McStinky mount for the BI camera. There's probably a whole bunch of TPU mounts on Thingiverse that'll fit the BI camera. It's a pretty standard camera size. Siskla FPV says, the TPU has to go for me. I've tried them. The camera smashes. And it lets the frame flex so much the AIO comes off the grommets and posts ball sack for the win. Yeah, you guys know I am not a fan of the G-string style canopies. But like I said, from what I've heard, for the people that have been testing this thing, I've not heard many complaints about durability, which is really, really exciting. So we'll see. I mean, if it works, it works. I have all the same complaints there, though. My favorite thing about the Mobula 6 canopy is how strong it is from a durability standpoint, but also from the standpoint of firming up the frame, preventing the frame from twisting as much by solidly connecting these 4 points. When you don't have that, when you don't have a rigid canopy, the frame is completely on its own, and it can move around and it can bend in all kinds of wacky directions. And so, yeah, it becomes a little bit more difficult to keep the AIO grommets on the posts of the frame and other stuff. I just pushed this prop on a little too hard. It should be okay. Let me see if I can pull it off. It was just at the last second I gave it a little like, there we go. Now, yeah, it came off just fine. So I'm gonna hit it one more time with the 0.99 millimeter drill bit. Boondock Striker says, can the Happymodel 1002 20,000 motors handle 2S? Probably. I don't know if any of these 18,000, 19,000, 20,000 kV motors specifically say that they're for 2S. I have a feeling that most of them say that they're only for 1S, but plenty of people run them on 2S. The motor manufacturers have a tendency to do that. They will underspec the motors quite a bit. What they kind of have to. If they said that a 20,000 kV motor was 2S capable, people would run it at 100%, no motor limiting on 2S, and that's a bit much. I motor limit even on the Walksnail rig carrying all the extra weight. I motor limit these 18,000 kV motors down to like 85%. So I really, really, really doubt that any manufacturer is going to say that a 20,000 kV motor is 2S capable. It's up to us to be realistic about that and to know the limitations and to move these down. You could probably run those 1002 20,000s at 100% on 2S and you'd probably be fine until the day that you bang up a propeller and the PID loop goes bananas, and then it's going to cook one of those motors like that. So it's important to get a little bit of motor limiting when you've got a motor that's abnormally high kV for the voltage you're going to put through it. And it's also important to understand that with a small motor that you're going to turn a shitload of kV with, that you be realistic about it and either motor limit it down or be careful. And if you hit it, if you get a big crash and you take it back off and it starts doing something weird, immediately disarm it and take the walk of shame. Don't try to limp it back home. The motors can cook really quickly when the PID loop is accelerating and braking, 4,000 times a second. So, that's sort of like a pro level thing, right? And like the motor manufacturers can't expect that everybody that buys their motor is going to be a pro. They've got to put things in place that the beginners don't get screwed over and, talk smack all the time. Pequeño Friole says, the driver for peak Rennie screw. Oh, I actually don't have one. I was about to buy one, but then I had a bunch of those peak screws break in the stator base, and I said, this is a terrible idea. I'm never using these ever again. And I didn't buy that fancy screwdriver. But apparently it exists. I don't really know much about it. Quad66 is in the chat. What's up, homie? He says, this board looks like it still needs some FETs oriented with the pins next to the motor tabs. Need to be very careful of soldering motors to the top pads to not bridge to a FET. Ooh, you're right. Ooh, you are right, dude. There is a FET right next to that third pad. See that there? That right there is what Quad66 is talking about. So if you end up swapping the motors out on this, those outside pads there, you got to be super careful that you don't get extra solder overhanging and bridging to this FET. So yeah, be careful, friends. Or just leave it as it is. At 16.5 grams, these motors might last forever. It kind of depends on the material that Newbie Drone is using for these motor shafts. But yeah, you never know. As we get lighter and lighter and lighter, even with a 1mm motor shaft, the durability is shocking. And so, yeah, the lightweightness of this actually could save it. Also, the Lite AF frame is pretty flexible. And so when you hit stuff, the frame is going to flex, and that's going to take a lot of the energy away from the motor shaft. Also, the ASI props are fragile. And so the ASI props are going to bend and that again is going to put less of the energy during crashes into the motor shaft. So maybe I have no idea. We'll know once we start bouncing it off the walls and whatnot. I think that's everything that I wanted to kind of show you on the quad itself. It looks like there's a whole bunch of pads on the front here. Are they silk screened? There's no silk screening on them, but I think in the little quick start guide that they gave you, they tell you what the pads are on the front. Let's see. No, they don't. In theory, on their website, they tell you there's a little row of pads on the front of the AIO here. See them there? 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. In theory, that's going to be like 5-volt ground camera, and then like UART 1 RX, UART 2, UART 1 TX, maybe UART 2 RX and TX. So yeah, and they've got itty bitty little through holes, which is cool. You don't have to use those through holes, but I love when they give you the option. So yeah, I think that's really everything that I want to call out about the actual quad itself. I am a little bit worried that this is the black Lite AF frame. The two black Lite AF frames that I got when they first came out broke like immediately, and then the white one and the clear ones have been like staggeringly durable. And so I'm a little bit worried about that. But again, there's a bunch of people that have been flying this thing and beating the crap out of it that have had no durability complaints. So maybe that black Lite AF that I got was like a prototype, or maybe it just came off the mold weird, or they had the temperature set wrong that they were extruding at, or God only knows. But yeah, when I first opened this box a few days ago and I saw that it was the black Lite AF frame, I was like, ah, hell. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Dabadoc says, motor is going bad, so just debating what to do and how to maybe upgrade. Ah, got it. Okay. I mean, it depends, man. The 75 Pro is such a good outdoor 1S garden ripper. If you want something to fly inside, it's not right. If you're looking at going to 65, the reason to do that is because you don't want to fly it outside anymore. You want to start flying it inside. The AIO in the 75 Pro is great for indoor stuff. The canopy camera VTX setup is not the best. And so those three things, they're a little too heavy. And so scaling that thing down to a 65 millimeter rig, if you keep that camera canopy VTX setup, it's going to be a little bit heavy. It'll still be okay, but it's going to be a little bit on the heavier side for a 65. As a 75, it's fine. It can handle that extra weight. And so if you were to shrink that thing down to a 65, do it, see how it is, fly it around. If it's a little too heavy, and or if you want more runtime, better power to weight ratio, better flight characteristics, then what you can do is look at all the racing builds. That AIO, the Beta FPV cross style AIO that's in that, is what all the racers have run for like a long time now. And so, yeah, the race builds will take like a little Pro 32 VTX and like double side tape it to the bottom above the battery. And then they'll run like a super lightweight little canopy, and you can have like a 17 point something gram rig really easily. With the existing cam canopy VTX setup, you're probably going to be like 19 point something grams, maybe into the 20 gram world. So with like an 0702 36,000 kV or 40,000 kV motor, it'll be fine. The power to weight ratio will be fine, but it'll still be a little bit heavy. It'll smash into stuff really hard. It'll be a little bit harder to fly it flat. It'll have that extra momentum in the corners and stuff. So yeah. 661 pointing out, isn't the 75 Pro 1102? That's not good for 65 millimeters. Yeah, thank you. I completely forgot that. If you change that into a 65 millimeter rig, you are going to have to get rid of the motors. I assumed that you were going to do that because you said that one of the motors is going. But yeah, thank you for pointing that out, 661. Absolutely have to switch motors to go to a 65. Cool. Caught up on chat. Let's see what this what the setup is like on this. I'm going to assume that since in the quick start guide they say that you can use the bind button in Betaflight, my assumption is that this is on 0.5. Let's take a look. Oh, fart. I don't have any batteries charged. Shit, what a jackass. All right, let me put some batteries on the Whoopster. I actually do. I have a couple of the little 260 mAh batteries charged, so we'll be okay. I'm going to use batteries that are not fresh. They're not destroyed, but they're also not fresh. I'm going to charge up 4 of these 300s, and then at this weight, we should be able to run these 260 mAh batteries to save even more weight, which is awesome. These motors are 30,000 kV, which is a little bit high. I usually like to only run these batteries on the lower kV motors, 27,000, 28,000, 26,000. But let's see how they are. If it kills these batteries in, a minute and a half, I'm going to tell you to not run these batteries. But we might be okay. Why is this battery showing 0 volts? Is it dead? That's weird. Now it's showing... Oh, it's the connector on the battery. It's acting funny. That's strange. Okay. Those are going at 0.9 amp. Those will be charged up before we know it. So, to get this thing set up, the first thing we're going to do is get it bound. This is my module that's on ELRS 3.0. I'm going to assume that this is on Betaflight 0.5. We'll take a look in a second. So I should be okay with this module. So we're going to plug it in via USB. Launch Betaflight here. Hummingbird F4 V3 is the target. And let's see how the accelerometer is calibrated. Pretty good. I'm just going to recalibrate it. Oh, no, that's pretty close. I'll do it anyway, just for the sake of doing it. All right, cool. Ports tab, what do we got? Config MSP on USB, and then, wow, nothing else is... Jeez. Okay. They're doing something under the hood to not have to use those ports. That's kind of cool. 3.2K on the PID loop frequency. What that means is that it's a BMI 270 gyro, which is a good thing. We've got the accelerometer turned on. That's fine. We've also got the barometer and magnetometer turned on. There's no reason for them to be on. Change this to my name. Maximum arming angle is set at 180, which means that it's off. I like that. Channel forwarding is turned on. That's interesting. I'll leave it. Servo tilt is turned on. There's really no reason for that to be on. LED strip is turned on. What that means in theory is that they've got cool RGB LEDs on this thing, which I like. Newbie Drone has a tendency to do that. Air mode is permanently on. That's totally fine. The beacon tone is blanked out here. I've never... Well, that was weird. It said that it was on 1. It's probably fine. These 2 switches are flipped on, which is also good. These are your ESC beeper switches. So we made a couple changes. We're going to hit save and reboot. And we're back. A quick little check that you always want to do is hold this thing up and physically go nose down, nose up, left, right, yaw left, yaw right, and make sure that this is mirroring what you're doing with the physical quad. That's just a safety thing. Power and battery. Let's take a look. That's a very specific amperage scale, which means that it's probably going to be right. Minimum cell voltage is set to 3.3. I'm going to bring that down to 3.2. Warning cell voltage is 3.5. I'm going to move that down to 3.4. I always like to put the capacity in here. It doesn't really make much of a difference. It's an OSD thing. You don't really have to make those changes. It's just something. Maximum cell voltage is also only set to 4.3. I'm going to bump that up to 4.4 just to make sure that if I put a really overcharged battery on it, it doesn't think it's a 2S battery. So those default settings are fine. I like them shifted a little bit. That's a personal thing. You can do what I do or not do what I do. The stage 2 failsafe is set to 1.5 seconds. I like to change that to 3 seconds for tiny whoops because they're not going to hurt anybody. That just gives it a little bit more time when it goes into failsafe to hold the last command to give you another 1.5 seconds to hopefully get the reconnection before it drops out of the air. Presets we don't really have to do. This is a bind and fly. First and foremost, don't when you get this thing, don't do what I'm doing. Just bind it and fly it. It's called a bind and fly, so bind it and fly it. Don't be a tool like me and change everything all the time. Sometimes you don't need to change anything. Just fly it. If you fly it and it doesn't fly the way that you want it to, okay, you can make some changes. But like, if you're gonna buy a bind and fly, you are paying for someone to build it and for someone to set it up and for someone to PID tune it. Take advantage of that and just fly the damn thing. Don't go and make a whole bunch of changes like me right off the bat. I've been doing this for so long. There are some very specific things that I just like to have in a very specific way. That's on me. But look, get it, bind it, fly it. This is actually my reminder. I'm going to stop changing things, and I'm just going to bind this, and I'm going to fly it. The changes that I made so far are not going to affect the way that it flies in any way, shape, or form. And so before I go down the rabbit hole, because I'm now on the PID tuning tab, and I'm very tempted to start moving shit around, I'm going to stop. You know what? I'm going to do a separate PID profile. I'm going to... let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So I'm going to leave this alone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit copy profile. I'm going to copy this PID profile number 1 to PID profile number 2. Copy, bang. So now the stone stock settings are here, and that's great. The first battery that I put it on is going to be with the stock PID profile. But I know the way that I like tiny whoops to be, so my profile 1 is going to be my personal profile. And we're going to switch to that at the end of the first battery. And so this is me taking a guess. I will further refine this once I've flown it a bunch. But my initial kind of settings that I do, this is what it would be. So I move the mode to roll, pitch, and yaw. They have it set for just roll, pitch so that they can custom put values into the yaw, which is very cool. But I've found that the yaw in the roll, pitch, yaw mode actually works totally fine. I'm going to start moving things around here. So degain slider, I'm going to move up to 1.4. Tracking, I'm going to leave at 1.1. That's fine. Look at them. They've got the feed forward zeroed out. I'll be damned. I'm actually going to give it a little bit of feed forward. Not much, just a little bit. Dynamic damping is all the way down at 0.2. I'm going to move it all the way up to 1.2. I love dynamic damping. Drift wobble eye gains, they have at 0.9. That's totally fine. But I'm going to move it up to 1.1. Pitch damping on for the roll degain, they've got all the way up at 1.2. I'm going to back that off to 1.1. Pitch tracking, the P&I and feed forward, they've got at 1.0. I'm going to move that up to 1.1. Master multiplier, they've got up at 1.1. I'm going to move that down to 1.0. This is a fairly standard tiny whoop tune for me. This is the way that I like it to feel. Nobody else needs to do that. This is I have a very specific way of doing it. It's not the right answer. It's also not the wrong answer. It's just the way I like my rigs to feel. I-term relax cutoff, I'm going to move from 15 to 10 because freestyle. 15 is more of a racing setup. 10 is more for freestyle. Again, this is my PID profile that I'm making adjustments to. When I go back to profile 2 for the first battery that I fly here, you're going to notice these things change back. All the sliders move back. It goes back to roll and pitch. I-term relax goes up to 15. But again, I know that I like my tiny whoops in a very specific way. Dynamic damping gain in advance, I'm going to move to 30. VBAT sag compensation, I'm going to turn on with the default value of 100. Thrust linearization, I'm going to turn on and bring it down to 10 from 20. Dynamic idle is turned off. That's good. You want that for 1S. Motor output limit 100%, great. They're only 30,000 kV motors, so they should be fine. And that is about it. The jitter reduction is awful low. I'm probably going to do a little something with that in a minute, but don't worry too much about that. Oh, rates. Sorry. Bind it, put your rates on it, and then fly it. Don't forget about rates. Sorry. Here are my rates. You should not use these. You should figure out your own. Rates are pretty simple to get dialed in. It is going to take some time, but it is well worth it, and it's really important to understand how rates work. My rates are pretty extreme, so you should not really use them. You can try them, but don't stick with them. Use them. They're going to feel weird, and then dial your rates in specifically for you. I'm going to add a little bit of throttle expo here, not a lot. I'm going to take a guess at the midpoint of 35. Again, this is my PID profile that I'm tuning right now. The first battery I'm going to fly as it comes out of the box. Filter settings, just for the sake of looking. Wow, they've got a lot of filtering in here. They've got a lot of gyro filtering here. And then they've got a lot of D-term filtering as well. Gyro RPM filter is set to 3 harmonics. I'm going to turn that down to 1 after the first battery, but again, I'm going to fly this as it is. The dynamic notch filter, 1 notch count. That's great. Q factor of 500. The max frequency is only at 600. I'm going to move that up to 800. Probably don't need to, but it's just a little bit of extra safety with really high RPM motors. And now we're into the receiver tab. So let's power up the transmitter. And it looks like it's SPI. And so we are going to hit bind receiver. And then on my module, I'm going to come in here to bind mode, send bind request, and let's see what happens. Come on, baby. Give me the beep. Bind receiver. It is on Betaflight 4.5. But, for whatever reason, it is not binding. I probably have had it plugged in for too long, and it's in Wi-Fi mode. So I'm going to unplug it and replug it. And now we're going to go straight into the receiver tab and hit bind receiver. And on my module, go into bind mode and send bind requests, and now it'll probably bind. Or not. Interesting. Let's try the bind button on the front of the AIO. So I think I just hit it. It didn't. There we go. I definitely hit it that time. Bind mode, press to send bind request, binding. Let's hit refresh here. And let's try again. All right, I definitely hit the bind button on that one. It didn't click the first 2 times I hit it. And now I hit bind on the module. Maybe you have to put full voltage to it to get it to bind. So let's try that. One of these little 260s is fine. Is fully charged, I should say. We're going to plug it in here. And we're just going to try the bind button on the AIO. All right, there's the bind button. On the module, bind mode, sending bind request. All right, and now let's plug it in. See if we have bound it properly. Okay, and receiver. Nothing. What is happening, little buddy? Maybe it's not SPI, but let's try this. Let's hit bind receiver here. And sending bind. Actually, you know what? Let's try 2.5. Let me take my module that's on ELRS 2.5. This should not be, but you never know. It's worth giving a quick try. This is probably the quickest way for me to potentially fix this problem. Next step is going to be to change it from SPI to UART. All right, yeah, that did not do anything. So try one more time, pushing the bind button. I don't think that it said that I have to hold the bind button. Nothing. No, it's going to be ELRS 3.0. So I'm guessing that it's not SPI. So let's come in here and let's actually pull the battery. It should not need the battery. And let's pull the USB, throw the USB back in there. All right, so we've power cycled it. Where's the receiver at? There he is. So, oh no, it should be SPI because it's not. We're not using anything on the ports tab. Hold on. Let's do the thing that we never do. Let's take a really quick look at the instruction manual that comes with it. See if it tells us anything. Binding direction. Bind. You know what's interesting? They do tell you to plug a battery in. Connect to beta flight. Select the receiver option. Click bind receiver. The green, this is helpful. The green LED on the flight controller will flash quickly, indicating that it's in binding mode. So let's take a quick look at that. Let's take a quick look at that. The Italian's coming at me, yo. All right, so plugging power in. We've got the green LED, which is blinking slowly. All right, and now when we click bind, let's see if it starts blinking quickly. So there it is, blinking very slow. Click it. Now it's blinking fast. Okay, so it is in bind mode. So let's see. Let's just try it again, just for the sake of argument. It's still flashing fast. Let's try this. Let's go down on the packet rate. We're going to go to 150 on the packet rate and see if that helps. Binding. Nothing. Let's go up to 500 on the packet rate. See if that does anything. Binding. Nothing. All right, let me put the packet rate back to 250. And let's try the binding phrase. I mean, it's in here. I don't usually use it, but save and reboot. I can't remember the last time I used the binding phrase. I don't even know if that's the right binding phrase. No, it's not. Maybe it's just that. Let's see. Nothing. All right, we're not going to use a binding phrase. All right, hold on. Derpa. Yeah, I know it's gonna say that, chat. I saw it in Nick Burns' review, and it's gonna make me want to punch someone. Nothing. What's going on, little buddy? What's your deal? What's your deal? Let's take a look at the website and see if it's UART versus SPI. Hey, by the way, if you want to get one of these, if I can get it bound, down in the description there's an affiliate link to it. The very top of the description. Tell me what you are. Tell me what ELRS you are. Where is it at? All right, doesn't seem to say up there. All right, here we go. Nope, doesn't say here either. Oh, here's where it'll say. It'll definitely tell us here. Or not. It just says built-in ELRS receiver. Oh, come on. Tell me. Here we go. SPI, Express LRS. Well, that's not good because it's on SPI, isn't it? It does have 2 UARTs. That's good. I was speculating about that earlier. SPI ELRS 3.0 receiver binding instruction power 100. Push the bind button, flight controller, put it in bind mode. Need to update to ELRS 3.0. That's great. Okay, important and notice for customers. No, that's just them saying it's for racers. Interesting. Let's... Huh. All right, hold on. There were numbers in the... somebody in chat just mentioned there were numbers down here in the binding phrase field that could have been doing something strange. I've seen that before, though. Yeah, see, no change. Refresh. Save. Bind receiver. Sending bind request. Okay. SPI, Express LRS, great. What is the? What are these? I don't really remember having seen those. Let's try turning them off. Maybe that's acting weird. All right, let's try this again. Nah, nothing. What in the world is going on here? What else could be going on? SPI doesn't need serial RX. UART 1, UART 2. Yeah, I shouldn't need to have anything in here. Config, air mode. Could it be this weird? I wouldn't think that it's this weird channel forwarding thing, but I am going to turn that off because there's just kind of no reason for that to be on. Brandon says set the binding phrase. I did that and it didn't work. Well, let me do this real quick. Express LRS 250. I want to do this anyway. Hit SPI. Let's just hit this real quick and see what happens. I wanted to do that anyway because that sets the jitter reduction a lot more aggressively. So let's see if that affected anything. Bind receiver. Whoops, nope, not Wi-Fi update. Whoop, nope. Bind mode, there we go. Binding. Nah, I didn't think that was gonna work. It's worth a shot though. Is the green light flashing fast? It is flashing fast, so it is in bind mode. Okay. Now what? Modes, there's nothing in here. Adjustments, there's nothing in here. Motors, no. Although I did just see something in the motors. It says there's 14 motor poles. Let's fix that. Bring that down to 12. King Dingling says, didn't you run bi-blades on the 2 Blacklight AF frames you broke right away? I don't remember, to be honest. Let's try, even though it is flashing fast, to say that it's in bind mode, let's try plugging a battery in, hitting the bind button, and see if that helps. So battery power, green light is flashing. Green light's actually flashing pretty fast. Is it booting up in bind mode and then I'm taking it out of bind mode or something weird? No. Let's try pushing the bind mode button. ELRS strikes again. There we go. Hit the bind mode button. It's flashing at the same frequency that it was. I can't think of anything else to do. At which point, you just keep doing the same things over and over again, and because FPV, magically things will sometimes start to work. CLI, black box, tether. I didn't go to CLI first. Baud rate, we tried. OSD adjustments, modes, ports, configuration. Is there something in configuration that I'm missing? No. Air mode, LED strip, OSD. No, that's all fine. It's SPI, so it doesn't need any of the ports. What's interesting is it's earlier, the green light was flashing slowly when I first put power to it. And then when I would click the bind button, it would start flashing faster. Now, the green light is flashing faster the whole time. It did come set to 14 pulls. You know what's funny about that, though? I've had that set wrong on a bunch of rigs before, and there's been no negative side effects. I'm sure it can't be good for them, but hold on. Hey, okay, so it's in bind mode from the CLI. Maybe that'll change something. Nope. Let me try changing the packet rate again. I'll go really low. I'll go all the way down to 50 hertz. I can't possibly imagine a world where you would have to do that, like as a racing rig, though. Yeah, no, that didn't do anything. Go back up to 250. Could it have to do with the telemetry ratio? I'm at 132. Let's go to 1.8. I can't imagine that would have anything to do with it, but I kind of don't know what else to try at this point. Still not bound. Bind receiver, bind mode, press to send bind request. It's fine. Well, all right, let me set the telemetry back. Oh, no. Telemetry ratio, 1/32. Well. What do you got, chat? Check the bind phrase on the module to see if it's the right one. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Express ELRS configurator, and then we're going to plug in USB-C to the module. Oh, well, no, I won't even need to do that. It'll just be in the Express ELRS main screen if it ever launches. Come on. What are you doing? What is that icon? iPhone mirroring. Oh, cool. Come on, man. What do you... why? Why? What else could cause it? The ELRS antenna could be jacked up? Not really. Even without the antenna, it should be fine, but the antenna is fine. Let me look at the board. See if I can see anything weird. Looks completely fine so far. I don't know what the ELRS chips look like anyway to be able to troubleshoot them. I don't really go that deep down the rabbit hole, typically. Ever. I mean, there's no solder balls that are like jumping out at me. Oh my god. Can you just... There we go. So... Oh, well, usually it says... I think I have to select a device category. So, I mean, whatever. This is Naminmo 2.4, fine. And then device, I don't know. Transmitter, is it the flash? Sure, why not? Just by... Okay, this is what I need. It is, yeah. My binding phrase is CiottiFPV, and that's the first one that I put in there. So, yeah, we'll try that again. We'll what the hell? We'll try that one more time. Huh. All right, let's see. Connecting receiver, binding phrase, capital CIOTTI, uppercase FPV. Is it case sensitive? It is case sensitive. Look at that. Save and reboot. And connect. And there's no beep, so that has not helped. Just for the sake of argument, I'm going to click that. This is not how it works, but I don't know. I'm out of ideas. I'm just trying anything and everything at this point. No. No, I got nothing. Oh, hold on. Could this be that weird refresh strangeness? Refresh, save and reboot. Hold on. Nah, I would have had the beep. Somebody said, is there a space after it? There shouldn't be, but again, I'll try anything at this point. I just want to fly it. Damn. Space after it doesn't help. I wouldn't have done that, though. Well... let's try this. Bind receiver. Bind mode, press to send bind request, binding, and now we're going to go refresh, and then we're going to go save. But no, it doesn't work like that. When that weird refresh bug, it has already shown you that it's bound. Yeah, see, no, this ain't. I mean, it says that it's SPI, so there's no reason for us to go to serial UART. It's just... It's not that. King Dingling says they released 2 Hummingbirds with that 12 amp AIO. The other one is $80, LEDs and 802s. It'd be a good candidate for 75 airframe canopy. Unfortunately, 1mm shafts. Yeah, I did a 75mm build with that actually a couple weeks ago. Boondock Striker says you would to plug in a quad that works. Look at the binding phrase maybe in the CLI. I can't remember how I did it before. When I forgot my phrase. Yeah, I don't use the binding phrases. So I don't have any other rigs. I just hit the bind receiver button and just go like that. Atreides says had this problem before and had to reflash it. Yeah. Unfortunately, Newbie Drone uses specific hexes, and I wonder if they. I'll bet they don't have the hex up here yet. Maybe they do. Frame flight controller. Let's see. Oh, so this is the flight control. Oh, right. They've had this rate. Maybe it is up here. Hold on. Let's see. Firmware. Hey. All right. Here we go. 4.5.0 CAC 3 weeks ago. All right. We're going in. Oh, shit. Okay. All right. So what is this? This is Hummingbird v3.1 race spec. Hummingbird. It just says Hummingbird F4 v3. Well, I mean, it ain't working. So, Brandsby Bean says try a different module. I don't have any other modules that are on 3, but I mean, I've got this module bound to 20 plus different rigs, and it's never skipped a beat. This should be the one right here. It's the only Hummingbird one. There's a chance that they're using a different one on this, but it's not. I'm not seeing a link to it. Notice if you experience issues with your drone, do not flash the firmware. Simply perform a factory reset using the config tool, and then do an accelerometer calibration. What? Factory reset using the configuration tool. As in, that makes it sound like they've got the hex in. No, they don't have the hex in here. The auto detect would work. Failed to verify the board. Well, I don't know what else to do. I'm reading chat to see if anybody has any brilliant ideas. I did try with the battery plugged in. Brings Baked Beans thinks it might be a crystal offset issue. Crispy Drip says turn model match off in the radio. It should already be off. I've never had that issue. I mean, like all my stuff is working, right? Like my module is fine. My process of beta flight is all fine, right? Like I've bound 20, 30, 40 different ELRS modules over the last couple of years. So like I'm what I'm doing is fine. It's the variable is this right here. So yeah. Demo FPV says don't let them tell you what to do. Reflash it. I mean, I kind of might as well. I tried that Boondock Striker. Nah, I can't update the other module because there's stuff that's stuck on 2.5, Brandon. But yeah, like I said, this module is fine. Yeah, I mean, I might as well reflash it because it ain't working, and I've kind of tried everything, and I'm sure that they have the hex that they can send me if I have to get in touch with the... Oh, King Dingling, good call. Plug and unplug 3 times. I haven't tried that yet. I mean, it appears to be going into bind mode, but there's no reason not to try plugging and unplugging 3 times. So let's give that a shot real quick. So 1, 2, 3. Nah, the green light is flashing at the same rate as it was before. Just for the sake of argument, I'll go in here. Yeah, no, nothing. I would have had a beep by now. Huh. Let's reflash it. I mean, it doesn't work. So if we reflash it and it still doesn't work, it's all good. Right. And there it is. And so we're going to go into downloads, and there's the CAC. Flash firmware. You know, I'm going to create a backup. What the hell? No, put that on the desktop. It's fine. All right, let's see what happens here. Boondock Striker says every time you went to the CLI, you didn't have the phrase in. That's okay. I mean, it's flashing the green light faster, like it said. So I mean, it's in bind mode. It's just not. Atreides says diff all, dump all, save. The little backup accomplishes that. Not quite as good. I wish that I'd remembered to do it in the CLI, but I took a little bit of a chance here with the backup. It is what it is. This I don't think this is going to fix it, but we'll give it a shot. We're just going to go directly into the receiver tab and see what's what. Bind receiver. It's flashing faster. Bind mode, press to send. Nah. It would already be giving me stick inputs. Brandon's Baked Beans, I think you're right. Crystal offset issue. Still thinking try another module. I also know that the Neminmo is one of the good ones. Well, I believe I'm going to have to say to be continued on this because I've done everything I can possibly think of. I mean, there's not many things. Like, we've been doing stuff that it doesn't really make any sense to kind of do, but whatever. Damn, man. I was super looking forward to seeing what a 16.5 gram bind and fly flies like. Try pushing the bind button. What's interesting is the first bunch of attempts, the green light would flash slow until I hit the bind button, and then it would start flashing faster. Now, the green button is flashing fast from the second that I put power to it. Although even when it was flashing slow and then flashing faster, it still wasn't binding. So I think maybe that the ELRS might just be not working right on the board. Take a look at the CLI backup real quick. Notch, calibration, RC smoothing, motor pulls, fail safe. See if there's anything weird in here. VBAT, OSD, VTX frequency, Hummingbird RS, CiottiFPV. No, that all looks fine. Feedback computation, iTerm. Thrust linear. No. Trying to see if like there's any weird binding phrase that's stuck in here or something like that. But no, this all looks totally normal. Fail safe, motor pulls, RC smoothing. Nah, this all looks normal. This all looks fine. 6S1 says button stuck down. No, I can feel the button pop back up. I tried the binding phrase off axis twice. Robred says, had an ESC causing me problems. When I plugged it in the ESC configurator, one of the ESCs was gone. Should 2 and 4 came back after reboot, but safe to assume the AIO is dead. Might be. It's hard to tell. Boondock Striker says, it's trying to bind, but there's no phrase to look for. Was the green light flashing like it was supposed to when you had the phrase in it? The green light behavior has not changed. Crispy Drip says, does it have an ELRS model number assigned other than 1? DM Defy now. I've never heard of that. Teddy's over here being a jerk. Try this again. Yeah, that's in there. The problem has to be with this, with the quad. The problem is not with any of my gear, because I've got 20 to 30 other rigs that have bound up totally fine. Let me do this. In terms of the binding phrase, let's just do something super quick. Is your controller turned on? Oh no, that was it. It's been off the whole time. The controller has to be turned on to hit the bind button on it. Well, it bound right away. This is a 2G4. Let's go into the receiver tab, and I'm gonna put my binding phrase in, and let's just see what happens. I can't remember the last time I used binding phrases, so let me just see real quick. Oh, now see, that's interesting. It's not working. Let's hit refresh. All right, so something about my binding phrase is not. Maybe I don't have the binding. You know what? That binding phrase might be on the old the module that has 2.5 on it. Maybe I don't have, but still, I mean, we should be able to do the standard binding setup and have it be totally fine. So let me get this thing rebound. Here's what binding should look like, friends. Connect, receiver, bind receiver, go into your module, go up to bind mode, press the send bind request, it binds. That's what's supposed to be. That's what's supposed to happen. You get your beeps. All's right with the world. For some weird reason, there's some strange little glitch sometimes with Betaflight. It's always nice to hit refresh first and then hit save. That you don't always have to do that, but if you do that every time, you'll save yourself at some point some incredible frustration. Brandon's VPN says, just fly a different whoop and figure this one out tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where we're going. I'll fly another rig that's really, really lightweight. That's about as good as I can do. Damn, man. Okay. There's going to be a part 2 to this. I have a feeling they're going to have to send me another one. Which is insane, but that's life sometimes. Why is the yaw so incredibly not centered? Well, now it's fine. That was weird. Okay. Well, I mean, we tried. Allfax says maybe it's a different version of ELRS match. I don't even know what that is. Yeah. That's that. All right. So the closest thing that I have to this is the Mobula 6 2024 V1. And where is it? Is it in here? There you are, little buddy. So here's, in theory, the flight performance that you can expect from a rig that weighs 16.5 grams. We're still going to do our 6 batteries. Damn it. Might not do 6, but we'll do a bunch. Race Bean says, he means check the Lua for errors. Do you have receiver bars on the radio? No, I would get the beep if I had the receiver bars. Islander FPV says, is the Ultimate Air 65 rig still wrecked from the Dip and Teddy's Bowl? Yeah, that thing is long gone. But I got one of the other prototypes back from Eva FPV and we were good. Let me go into the, I mean, again, the Lua shouldn't, there should be, no, there's nothing that I need to do in the Lua script. This has bound to every single other one of these rigs, 5 or 6 or 7 different AIOs, totally fine, including the BLV5, right, which is also from, like, my gear is not the problem. It's just not. Kurt059 says, does the 75 Pro have enough power to run an action cam? If so, what would you recommend? Not at the weight that it's at. If you were to lighten it up, I'm assuming, Kurt, that by 75 Pro you mean this, the BLV5. Well, actually, maybe. Actually, it does, because they make a version of this with these same motors that carries the 03, and the 03 is a fat bastard. So yeah, technically it would. As long as it was as long as it was an action cam that doesn't weigh any more than the 03 system. The trouble would be figuring out a way to mount it and whatnot. But yeah, technically speaking, I guess it would. If you meant the Beta Meteor 75 Pro, absolutely not. Oh, there you go. Actually referring to the bit. No, you can't carry an action camera on 1S. It's not there. All right, so yeah, we're gonna fly this. This is the fully upgraded Mobula 6 2024 version 1 with the direct soldered motors. A little bit lower KV on the motors here. These are 0702 28,000 KV, but I've got these Gemfan 1219S propellers on here, which probably are a more pitchy prop than the Azis. So this propeller should make up for the weight difference here. So yeah, I have a feeling that this is actually going to give you a half-decent representation as to what the Hummingbird v3.1 would fly like. Let's put it on the heavier 300 mAh batteries first, and then we'll drop down to the 260s. So here you go, friends. Fly your daily 6 batteries with me starting right now if you haven't already. If you fly 6 batteries a day, you'll be absolutely shredding within a couple of months, and you'll be able to have the most fun in your entire life flying inside of your house in the winter when it sucks outside, when it's raining out, when it's hot as hell out. Do it, yo. You do have to get good, though. In order to really, really, really have a lot of fun flying tiny whoops inside, you got to spend some time. You got to get good. Aaron Muller says, what BEC do you have in your Walksnail 2S build? I don't. I just have it running off of the 5-volt pads. Off the Beta FPV Cross 5-amp AIO. And it's been working totally fine, actually. This thing is 16.6 grams, actually. So 0.1 of a gram heavier, but and a little bit lower KV, but more pitchy props. Teddy. 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 Oh, this thing is getting a little oscillaty. What's happening, little friend? Ooh, this battery is falling on its face, too. Oh, man. Why do the kids do this? Why do they, like... Never mind. Like, I've obviously set these up for a reason. If you're gonna, like, kick them all over the place, why would you not put it back? Oh my god, I can't believe I just did that on the first try. Holy Christ. That's not the true, like, completely impossible move up here. This battery is just absolutely falling on its face, though. Hold on. Let me switch this battery out. This must be one of my older 300 mAh batteries, because it's just a hot mess. Hold on, we'll do a mirror flip real quick. That was a shitty mirror flip. I could do that better. Oh, it was a good one! Okay, let's get this battery out of here. This thing's shit. I got a bunch of batteries that I've, like, over-discharged and just been, like, super mean to that need to go away. Alright, this will be a better battery. This has got gold marker on it. That means it's a little bit newer. This is also in the Lite AF frame, so this is the same frame. Different AIO, different camera, different canopy. But hey, it's the same frame. Teddy. Ooh, this thing is a little unhappy. It be oscillating. Let me chill the tune out a little bit. Oh, why is it on PID profile 2? That's probably why. What was that about? What the hell's PID profile 2? Looks fairly normal. That's weird. Oh my god, PID profile 1 is cranked. What the shit? Hold on, let me just for the sake of argument, it's probably going to oscillate and fly away. Yep. Okay, so maybe I made a second PID profile to back it off a little bit. Oh no, there's something weird going on here. These values are all over the damn place. Let's back this off. Oh no, this must be the stock PID profile. Hold on. PID profile 1 is probably the stock PID profile, and then 2 is mine. So let me just back this off a little bit and see if that's all it needs. No, it's... Nope. What is happening with you, little buddy? Let's keep chilling it out. Oh, come on, man. I hit down. It didn't save the changes. There we go. No. Oh, man. This must have a... this either has a banged up prop or a banged up motor. Super easy way to tell. Flip it into turtle mode. Arm it. And spin each motor up individually. The first thing you want to look at is the propellers. Oh my god, yeah, motor 2 is a hot mess. Yeah, motor 2 is vibrating hard. Ow! The tip of the prop just caught my finger. Oh man, motor 3 is a bit of a mess too. Let's change the propeller on motor 2, and if the problem continues, then that means that it is in fact the motor shaft, and I need to take this thing all the way apart to desolder motor number 2 and solder another one on, which is the unbelievable frustration with not having motor plugs. Alright, and so let's get a fresh Gemfan 1219S. This looks like a pretty fresh propeller, though. I don't think this is going to help. Here's the other thing that you can do. Take the propeller off, go back into turtle mode, spin that motor up and put your fingernail next to the motor shaft. And you'll be able to tell. No, that didn't feel too bad, actually. I mean, there's some vibrations there for sure. The motor shaft is... It's not bent. But it doesn't seem like it's bent enough to be causing this many problems. Hold on. Let's try a fresh prop. Right side high, right side high. Here we go. All right. Hold on. So, brand new propeller. Let's see if this fixes it. Ouch. Okay. I'm gonna go into turtle mode and spin it up, and see what the vibrations feel like. Then I'll try to fly it. But for right now, let's just check it in turtle mode. Oh, come on. There we go. Ah, no, it's still vibrating like crazy. Yeah, the motor shaft is bent. It's 12:01. I tried, guys. I hope you appreciate my efforts tonight. I'm so sorry that I've failed you on every possible level. Some next time you have one of those days in FPV, and it won't be very long. It happens all the time. Just remember, man, it's not just you. Even people that literally do this for a living have nights like these. I flew like half a battery, but it's, you know, I don't know. Hopefully you know, because I don't know. I am disappointed. Let's fly something. We're gonna fly something. Hold on. I gotta. This is me leaving myself a reminder. This is me pulling the prop off and unscrewing this motor to let future me know that, because I'm not gonna do this at the end of this live stream. I'm gonna go cry into a beanbag chair. Wish I had a beanbag chair. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, if I just do this, then... You know what I'm actually going to do? I am going to just swap the motor bell. That'll be less work. I think I have a not bent 0702 motor bell somewhere. Ooh. Or I order the this could be the first rig that I put those 1.5mm motor shaft bells on. Oh, but no, because then the only propeller option is the 1210s, and these are only 28,000 kV. So yeah, no, that's not it. But I will be taking 0702 motor bells off of other rigs. Yeah, okay, I'll let you guys know how this goes on the next live stream. So with direct soldered motors, when a motor bell bends, technically, sure, you can sneak the tip of your soldering iron in here right above the duct, and maybe you can just barely get the motor desoldered, and then maybe you can just barely fit the wires up on the new one, and maybe you'll get them half decent. Realistically, though, no. You got to take the whole thing apart. So you're taking 12 motor screws out, you're taking these 4 screws out, you're pulling the whole goddamn thing out. You might need to take depending on what frame you're on, you might need to take the propellers off all the motors to get the motors through the damn frame. And then you can desolder the motor and resolder a new motor on. This stator is completely fine. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it with this tiny little bit of motor wire, but what I'm going to try to do is remove the C-clips, pull this motor bell off, swap another motor bell on, and yeah, and just change the bell on just this one motor. I'll let you know. I'm not doing it now. I'm burned out. But yeah, I'll do that and let you guys know if that is less painful than... It almost certainly will be less painful as long as I can pull it off. As long as I have enough wire length to get my pliers in there and get the motor off and whatnot. Cool? That's disappointing. Oh well. FPV be like that sometimes. I'm gonna go drown my sorrows. Thanks for hanging, friends. Sorry I couldn't give you any flight footage of it, but hey, next time you're deep in the FPV nightmare pit. I've been there recently. NASCAR bell swap, nice. Am I caught up on chat? No, I'm not. Thrash FPV says, if I wired LEDs to a beeper pad, any way to get it to not flash and stay on? I don't think so. I think the beeper pad is like hard wired or whatever. Chip Good says, sorry man. Denzel the Turbo says, tip of the day, just run your finger. I'm caught up. All right, guys, be good. Here comes some more BLV5. Some more BLV5ing. I'll see you guys on Friday. See ya!